crew, man. This crew called Hoop Jargon. They've been getting at it, man. They the ones that's gonna grill you, man, because they majority are all Houston people. So that's
shout out to Hoop Jargon.
Man, I'm here with my man with Hoop Jargon, the best in the game, man. And you know I only live selected few in my circle. And this is the real dude right here. We gonna get down with the get down.
Shout out to Hoop Jargon, man. Shout out to Straight No Chaser Cowboys podcast. Now, I'm bringing up the two baddest men in the land, and without further ado, let's bring up my guy, Richard Walker.
What it do?
Dan Brown.
What up, man? Hey there.
What's up, everybody? So I'm gonna bow out because I'm out here in Dallas having I'm in between weddings.
having a Tyron Smith moment there.
Yeah, I'm Tyron Smith, man. DNP.
Game time decision.
At least it's not a DMP coach's decision. So
there you go. Yeah. It wasn't a coach's decision. It was. But as we do that, guys, y'all go follow our channel that we're gonna do thus forward, which is Straight No Chasers Cowboys podcast. Is right there in the link. Y'all follow and appreciate all the early birds. And without further ado, gentlemen, you got it.
We'll see you. Well, first of all, I want to start off by guaranteeing that the Dallas Cowboys will not lose today. That's because they're asking.
Yeah, we'll own that one. Yeah, we're gonna stand up on that one. We're gonna stand 10 toes on that one. They will not lose.
They will not lose this Sunday. I guarantee you that.
That's a great way to start, Red.
Man, I guess we need to take a look back at last Sunday. Against the Bengals. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, man, first of all, I want to shout all three of us out here on this show because we so boldly proclaimed that the Cowboys, and they did not. I think we all predicted double-digit loss for the Cowboys. We get down on this show, man. I mean, we put something out there, we're gonna stand on it. So. We were well justified not thinking that going into that matchup, given the play of not overall. I mean, I said because the defense did well against the Bucs. That was one of the reasons I gave Dallas a slight chance in last week's game because of the defense, and I'm gonna get more. I'm sure we're gonna get more into that in a second because I think this defense is turning into something. But offensively, I just didn't see it. I didn't think they would be able to sustain drives. I didn't think they were going to help that defense out by making enough plays to get them off the field before Burrow and Chase and company would wear down, put up points, particularly late, and get things going. I mean, if you follow the game, that's a pretty solid way of thinking of in that game based on what we saw. So what does Cooper Rush come out and do? Take the opening drive, 75 yards. 5 of 6 point plays, converting third downs. Zeke is running the ball, and they go down and score and go up 7-0. And I'm like, damn, here we go. So, but overall, man, even though it got dicey at the end, they tried their damnedest to give that game away. They held on to win. A win is a win is a win in this league. You know that,
right? You take.
Cooper Rush. I think I'm gonna use a baseball analogy here. He gave Dallas a quality start. It wasn't dominant. He didn't go out and pitch a perfect game. He didn't get out like a one-hit gem like Greg Maddux or anything like that. But he gave Dallas, again, staying in the baseball lane, probably 6, 7, 6 and a third, 6 and 2/3 good innings, and gave him a quality start. And then they held on for the win. And if he can do that, if you look at how things could play out, particularly tomorrow night, which I know we're gonna get into, I mean, Dallas can get 1 or 2 of these games on the schedule, man. If he does that, so that's what I thought, man. I thought he did better than I thought. I thought Dallas's line, and particularly the rookie. I want to hear your thoughts on that too, Rich, on how the rookie played, Tyler Smith, on that left side. I thought they did
They
just
did,
do what they did, which
they
is
did a
hold
good job.
on.
They did a good job protecting Cooper.
Yeah.
Tyler Schmidt, like I said, to be thrown into the grease at left tackle in the NFL, that's like taking a medical assistant student and having them perform open heart surgery. Like, it is very complicated. So he stepped in and did an outstanding job. Kudos to him. I definitely agree that the game was won more so on the defensive side of the ball.
No question.
And P. Rose, I think you hit the nail on the head. Cincinnati's offensive line is hard.
Yes.
New defense is going to eat. The offense just had to do enough not to lose the game. Exactly. That's exactly what happened. Micah Parsons, man. My goodness. My goodness. If there was a way to say there's a defensive player that's the heart and soul of the team, that's it right there, man.
There's no question.
Number 11 was unblockable. There was nothing that the Bengals could do to slow that man down. They did everything they could, and they just had no answer for him. He was killing their drives. He took their offense. He completely single-handedly shut that offense down, by himself.
Man, you know what's fun to watch about him, Rich? And I know you and Cliff, above all, can appreciate this. Man, you know what's cool about watching a player like Micah Parsons is how often, when you think about it, can you see a defensive player literally go out and be good enough at this level to affect wins and losses like that?
Right.
Where this guy can go out and say, you know what, I am absolutely going to go out.
Right.
I'm going to be the guy to make that play.
Right.
That affects, more or less, to like you said, take away the other team's drives, shut them down at timely moments or whatnot, and actually be good enough to do it. And again, I hope those of y'all that are watching, I'm not putting him in this in the path of the people I'm about to name, but this is stuff that is trending that way. Okay?
Right.
This is Reggie White stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is Lawrence Taylor stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Of recent vintage, this is J.J. Watt stuff.
Right.
This is Aaron Donald stuff, with a guy, or even a Von Miller, if you will, if you were liking somebody at his position. This is a guy who knows he's the baddest man out there. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mind telling you and the media and his teammates, hey, I'm going to be that guy that makes that play from this side of the ball that affects us winning this game. And then goes out and does it. And like I've always said, man, the definition of a bad motherfucker is when you know how he's coming at you, you know what he's going to do.
And it ain't a damn thing that you can do.
And that's Micah Parsons, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate
the crazy
what's
thing
happening
is,
here in Dallas with that dude.
I don't think Micah truly knows how good he is yet.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
He's just playing off good old-fashioned passion and football instinct. Yeah. When this dude has some time to really dig down and get it, because by the way, for those of you that don't know, he's been working with Marcus Ware behind the scenes.
Oh, excellent tutelage. Hall of Fame.
Yes. So when DeMarcus is able to really get him to break the game down and work with him on technique, and the sky's the limit for this guy.
Yeah.
And if they can find some type of way to get him some type of complimentary piece on that line to create pressure from elsewhere, so that you have to think about something else besides trying to block number 11, there's no telling what his career numbers are going to look at. Like, but he is a game changer player. He's not just a talent. There's a difference between being a talent and being a game changer. This guy kills drives.
Yeah. He
causes offensive coordinators to stay up at night trying to figure out, what in the hell am I going to do with number 11? And this game against Cincinnati was proof positive of just that. He short-circuited their offense, made it a lot easier, because not only did the crazy thing is the Bengals actually owned the time of possession battle pretty significantly. They controlled. They had I think 7 or 8 minutes more than the Cowboys did. They possessed the ball, but when it mattered, he would just kill the drive.
Yeah,
you would think typically when you don't turn the ball over like Cincinnati did, and you own time possession, you're typically in a good place offensively. But no, the numbers didn't match up with what actually happened on the field.
But to you, I mean, that's a perfect tie-in to the point I'm about to make. Time of possession they win, when you don't turn it over, all those things, that typically adds up to a win. But when you have an equalizer like number 11, it levels everything. Even with a team that struggles mightily right now in weeks 1 and 2, like the Cowboys, the one guy that can give your team a chance by giving you opportunities, giving you the ball back because he's doing his thing on the defensive side of the ball is Michael Parsons. I'm going to go back to your point, Rich, about him working with DeMarcus Ware. You say, right now he's just going off of just one thing. Now, one thing he does know, you say he doesn't know how good he is, but one thing he does know, he knows he's a bad man. That he does.
Yeah.
But I think the one word
about it too, though.
yeah, I think the one word that ties in to that describes where he needs to, where he is when he gets to this point is nuance. When he develops nuance to his game, it's going to be laughable. I mean, I think I said this a couple weeks ago. He's literally going to have, injury notwithstanding, he's literally going to have that 5 to 7 year window, like a Watt, like a Donald, where literally like when the ball is snapped, this guy is going to make that play.
Like this. He doesn't have his signature move yet. Deacon Jones is the head slap.
Yep.
Reggie White was the forearm.
Yep.
He hasn't developed that one move yet.
Yeah, Dwight Freeney with the spin move. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. It's like in basketball,
he's just
like Michael Jordan's fadeaway, or Hakeem Olajuwon's dream stick. He hasn't gotten that yet.
Yeah, Von Miller's band. Von Miller's band is probably one of the best I've ever seen.
Right.
You know what? I mean, that's you're right. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if he actually develops a signature deal.
He's gonna come on with something.
It's coming. You can't stop it.
Yeah.
You made another point, man, about if they find a complimentary piece. I think if they eventually find that one guy where you really have like that other signature piece on the other side, and I look at combos like what's my man, was it Neil Smith and Derek Thomas? Combos, like that. I know Houston had a while with a couple different guys with Watt that they paired up, but I do like what they're getting as a committee. You're getting a little bit of Lawrence. He'll make a play here and there. He's been solid, not spectacular, which I can take. Now you want a little bit more than that because of the money they're paying him. But you got like a group effort, like with the DeMarcus Lawrence and or Dorrance Armstrong, who had a really big game. So if they can find a guy, I think going in as this thing takes shape and I grabs an identity defensively. The one constant we know is number 11. Who steps up in a given week to complement what 11 is going to give you? Right. And I think they have enough guys to do that. And now if they look up and all, say everybody gets on, or everybody gets in that groove, that's even better. And I want to move to another guy who I think from a pass rush perspective, he wasn't that big. From a playmaking perspective, man, if they can get last Sunday's, was it Anthony Barr? Yeah. The Vikings, the late Viking free agent edition, if they can get that guy that played Sunday or some semblance of that guy that played Sunday the rest of this season, then that pickup is looking like genius. Because that dude's name, I didn't see the game live. I had to go back and watch the whole game as a replay, but I was listening to Brad Bay on the radio, and every other play, they were calling his name if they weren't calling Parsons. I was like, damn. And then I watched it. I was like, oh wow. So if they're getting contributions from guys in that front seven. You got the one constant Parsons. You got the committee with Barr. Brent, you made a great point. Sam Williams did play well.
Yes, he did.
Dorrance Armstrong and DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, those guys, even the guys in the middle. I think this defense is going to be the signature of this team. We touched on it early. It's playing itself out until they can somehow, Beav and company can figure out what they can do offensively with that or whoever's in there.
I think what we're seeing, to me, begs the question, is it time to move on from Dak Prescott as the leader of the Dallas Cowboys? I don't mean like physically trade him. I'm saying internally. Is it time to
That's an
pass the
interesting
torch?
question.
Is it time to pass the torch, the Autobox the matrix of leadership? Is it time to pass that on to Micah Parsons? Like, there have been teams that have won Super Bowls. Think about the Ravens. We know who the leader of the Baltimore Ravens was.
No doubt.
We know who the leader of the 2002 Tampa Bay Bucks were.
No doubt.
Those teams had basically me at quarterback. So you can win with a defensive-minded unit. So maybe we know, okay, our offense is in complete shambles, so to speak, from a personnel perspective. We're in salary cap hell. We will be for at least this year and next year. Is it time for us to start looking at being just a defensive-minded, defensive-focused team? Let's build the core of our organization around the defense, around number 11. Let's get an offense that's functional enough to put up points when we need it, to hold drives, to manage the clock, so that the defense can come home and cook the bacon. Is it time for us to have that conversation? Huh?
I love this, Rich. I mean, I hadn't thought about this. I love
because we tried to crown Dak for 6 years now. I don't know if he wanted the crown or not. He's shown in small samples, but he hasn't taken that next step. Dak, 2022 Dak, is not a hell of a lot better than 2017 Dak.
Man, that's a really, really good question, man. And as you were saying that, and when you describe the teams about the defensive identity, and
the Super Bowl champs this year, who's the leader of that team?
Right,
99.
Right, no doubt.
It ain't Matt Stafford.
I was going to say you just described the Rams of recent vintage. Yeah. You just described the old school Giants.
Yeah.
Clearly, the defense was the identity of that team when the Phil Simms and Jeff Hostetler led Giants teams that won Super Bowl.
Yeah, we know who the leader of that team was.
Really deep. So you described the Buccaneers team, the Tony Dungy squad. Well, actually, we gave credit to Chucky.
That Broncos team, we know damn well Peyton was already done.
Right, exactly. I mean, so you bring up an interesting point, man, and I'm going to answer the question. I think Micah Parsons could very well, through his personality, obviously his play dictates that, but I think through his personality, how forthright he is, how open he is in embracing that mantle. I mean, how very direct he is. I mean, the man has said, "I want to be the best in the game."
Yeah.
Right. But I think by just his personality in that locker room, I think they could very well happen by default. I think you may end up seeing players and or the organization gravitate towards him. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
Example. He's been leading by example.
Exactly.
Dak will talk. Mike does. Micah walks.
That's a great point, man.
Damn it, I'm doing it. In spite of everything else, I'm going to take plays off. You're going to get 500% from me every single time.
And when I'm expected to make a play, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to make a play.
That play going to get made.
Yeah. That's a great point, man. That's that's one to chew on. Not only for today's discussion, man. That's one to kind of keep an eye on as things go forward through this season, maybe into next, man. Because he's not only becoming, superstar talent on the field, but that, like you said, that one guy that is the leader of this team.
I love these comments. P. Rose, Dak is the leader as it pertains to the PR aspect of the team, and he's the leader in the locker room because of his character. But Micah is the spark plug of the Cowboys. Micah is the engine of the team. You're damn right.
P. Rose, that's a great point.
Dak Prescott is like a nice set of rims on a car, but he don't go nowhere without an engine.
Oh, good play, Rich. I like that.
I'm saying.
It looked good sitting there, but it don't move.
Romo days. Give me defense all day. Yeah. And back in the day, we should have handed the torch to DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah, they should have done a better job of building around DeMarcus Ware too.
Yeah.
Because it was DeMarcus Ware, and I mean it was flashing the ebony sparks, bro. I mean it was. It was all they had.
Everybody should have shut up and got behind D Ware.
Yeah. Now, that's a great comparison because talent-wise, you see so many parallels. You see so many bits of talent. But I think what the differentiator is in terms from a leadership standpoint, and now DeMarcus Ware clearly, from just like you said, by example, was getting it done. But Micah Parsons has that extra from the vocal standpoint. DeMarcus Ware would dominate the game. He get you the headbutt with the helmet, and he give you like a nice courteous high five. But you didn't hear anything from a soundbite afterwards. I know you've probably done several press conferences. He wouldn't give you a lot on that front. Micah Parsons gives you that extra because he has that extroverted personality to go along with that extraordinary talent.
Right. What I think
of a magnetic personality is what I'm saying.
What I think of is we spoke with one of a former Washington Redskin who talked about playing against D. Ware, and he's like, he was the meanest nice guy that you ever meet.
Right.
Meanest nice guy.
Yeah.
Nice guy. On the field, that is a mean son of a bitch.
Yeah. Just whip your ass and be like, hey, great game, man. After you just beat your ass for
I'm so sorry. I just curb stomped your ass, man. My bad. And then next way he get up and curb stomp your ass.
Right.
Sorry about that, man. Sorry. You all right? You good? I know I just knocked the shit out you. You good? Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's that. But I'm still on that question that you posed, man. That's a really good thing. Let me offer this up, Rich, to that. Here now. What has been, and I saw our guy Brent Jackson saying I've been asking for this since the Romo days. Give me defense all day. I'm with you on that, Brent. So with that and with Rich's input, let me pose a question to the chat. And let me pose a question to you, Rich. What has been the one constant in preventing progressive things like that?
It's Jerry Jones.
Gerald,
Jerry Jones, and the Jonesian mindset is we have to have flashy superstars,
right?
Who put asses in seats and to sell jerseys,
right?
Yeah, Micah's a hell of a talent, but Micah is not that charismatic. That he don't have that charisma. That he's not going to smile, and he's not going to use catchphrases, and he's not going to, do all the goofy commercials and all this other shit. Micah's a football player. Micah is in love with football. He don't give a damn about all the glitz and the glamour and all the other cute stuff and, the pyrotechnic intros and all the other bullshit that the Cowboys like to do, saying to disguise the fact that at its core, the organization is dysfunctional from a football operations perspective. He's not into that. He want to put his helmet and his pants on and go smash somebody. He'll give a damn eye. You can put Micah Parsons in the backyard. You can put him in a 100,000 stadium, 100,000 seat stadium. He don't care.
Yeah.
Who's my opponent? Where they at? What time we need to be?
Right.
And I don't care about that deal. I don't even care where I got a jersey now. Put me on a t-shirt, some shorts, and some pants. I don't care. But that doesn't work for the Cowboys business model,
right?
Because they're all about the 60 look instead of focusing on what works best from a football perspective. That's the difference. That's the difference. That's what happened when Jerry Jones purchased the team. He changed the model. Those of us who were fans before, remember America's team.
You read my mail, sir.
America's team. Tom Landry, Tex Stram. It wasn't about none of that. They would get up to that line. They would get down in formation, and they would whoop your ass from the time they got off the bus to the time you took a shower.
What was the biggest identifier, Rich? Doomsday.
That's how the Cowboys became great. Not this shit.
Right. So, man, Rich, you absolutely cooking, man. You bring up some great stuff in terms of an identity and what's sellable here. Because I completely agree with you that, and with some of the guys get like P. Rose, Brent, adding on to some great points here about the identity of this team, and that's a cultural thing. Going back to Jerry Jones, since he master of all these surveys and whatnot, and like you said, when he bought the team in 1989, changed the culture. It was sizzle, not steak with him.
Right.
See what I'm saying? It was the show. It was the pomp and circumstance.
Right.
The football. They almost, because you had a Jimmy Johnson who was of that same ilk, right? Who was that no nonsense. We're here to play football. We're here to play it the right way. We don't make mistakes. I don't tolerate it, any of those things. And because he was this big a personality, Jerry, by default, had to take back seats. Since Jimmy Johnson's departure, it's pretty much been this sizzle, not steak deal, right?
Right.
And it's been the glamorous piece, and that's the offensive side of the ball.
Right.
It doesn't sell tickets. This is the mindset. We know that's not necessarily the case because it's all a mindset because it's worked in Pittsburgh.
Right.
My entire life, and I've been here a while.
Yeah.
It's worked in Pittsburgh. It's worked in Baltimore. It all depends on what you believe in, what you commit to as an organization in order to get to championship level football. That's why the Bucks had their run for so long, even though they had a great quarterback. But this was always the
not had a losing season in damn near 20 years.
And Pittsburgh's never had more than a time. Right.
In damn near 20 years, man.
Yep.
I mean, it works. Their formula works.
Yeah, that's why. And I wanted to bring that up to highlight just how great a point you bring up, Rich, in terms of mentality, in terms of adopting leadership. And I think the roadblock here, and see, y'all understand, this is where Straight No Chase is different because the affiliates, they're still on board. The ones with the blue jean shorts and the fresh fade and the jersey you keep talking about. It's this type of discussion that they chase against. It's this type of discussion.
We're
they
haters.
Don't want to fuck Jerry Jones. They don't. They're still in love with the Chili's doing that thing and the fireworks and the pyrotechnics and all that deal. And the offense to go and put up. There it is, fresh fade, jean shorts below the knees, all that. This is what Straight No Chase differentiates because we're bringing up a real thing here. This is franchise identifying deal. In terms of how you go forward to try to get back to championship football. Not win 10 or 11 games and get ousted in the first round. We've seen that book already. We've seen it 4 times now in the last 6 years. Okay?
Right.
So or maybe 3 times in the last 5 or whatever it is. But how do you get to championship level football? What's the identifier? What are you going to do? Does your organization have the balls to adopt that when you've got a superstar in Micah Parsons? Hitch your wagon to him, to Rich's point, and go forward. Because there's nothing wrong with, even if your quarterback's making $40 million a year, there's nothing wrong with him not being. Now, is he one of the leadership voices on the team? No question. He's quarterback. He's QB1. I mean, so he's going to be that. Is he the guy that necessarily has to be the identifying face of your franchise? Or what your franchise is? No, that can be Micah Parsons, just like it was with Lawrence Taylor, just like it was with what's my man, the lineman for Tampa,
Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp.
Yeah,
I mean, it just like it was with Ray Lewis. Right. I mean, it can happen just like it was with Aaron Donald.
Right. No disrespect to Russell Wilson. I think he's great. I'm a huge Russell Wilson fan.
Absolutely.
But the heart and soul of the Seahawks was the Legion of Boom.
The Legion of
Boom. Y'all know that? Exactly. Y'all know that. Yes, Russ was a leader on the team, but the Legion of Boom, when you think about that defense, you think about that team, you think about that defense. You think about Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, those guys. That's what you think about.
Yeah, and what was the long-standing quote unquote knock against Russell Wilson? That he was a game manager,
right?
And if you got a talented, suffocating defense, who cares? I mean, if they're winning, who cares? And I'll say this before we the matchup with the Giants.
Your Super Bowl trophy doesn't have titles like game manager.
No, it does not.
It says Super Bowl champion. In the year. World champions in the year. That's all it says. They don't say none of that other shit.
And even the 90s Cowboys, now we're going on nearly year 30 since they won a title. I still say, because the one identifying thing was the triple, and they were great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously they were great. And that offensive line. But that defense is still criminally underrated.
Right.
In that era. I mean, and I'm talking that front four, based around a very dominant Charles Haley. That linebacking core, that front seven was really, really, really good.
Really good.
And they don't get the credit for that era that they should. And I think Jerry himself has hung on to that, the memories of that, because I think that was what they marketed, the triplets, the offense, that offensive line. That's why you see the money going into the resources that way, like you do.
Jerry gives himself way too much credit for the Cowboys' success in the 90s.
Yeah.
He got lucky. You hired a guy that you like who just happened to be a football wizard, who just happened to have the common sense to trade Herschel Walker's ass instead of Michael Irvin like Jerry wanted.
Right.
Because that was what Jerry wanted to
don't know
Michael
that.
Irvin.
Right.
And Coach Jim was like, no, I know this guy. He's who we want. Let's get rid of that guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's Herschel Walker. And he was the one who engineered and oversold the value of Herschel Walker, which was the best bullshit job of all time. Like it
really was.
Man, you talking about the ultimate finesse. I put that trade up there with Bobby Bonilla's contract. Like he just finessed the hell out of him.
It's the greatest. It's the greatest fleasing in American sports.
Yeah.
And I don't care what sport you come up with. It's the greatest fleasing in American
on the
sport.
back of a dude who
probably
wouldn't he was a great college player, but Herschel Walker was never going to be a great NFL player.
So
he had the foresight to do that. He basically rebuilt the U in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jimmy's greatness was identifying talent and delegation, which is,
and specialization.
Like, if you want to build a head coach, that's what they all have in common. They can identify talent to their system, and they are terrific delegators. They identify the talent not only on field, but the guys that they want to implement what they want done. Look at all the coordinators that had success with Jimmy Johnson. If you look at all the great coaches from back in the day and the coordinators tied to them, that's what they all had in common. Right. That's what we've really not had here since then.
Right.
Facts are what they are.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
Goddamn carousel. What is Dallas's identity? That's the biggest question. I think they need to answer that.
We don't have one.
The answer is right now we don't have one, or we're trying to be something that we're not. It's like an offensive lineman trying to be a wind sprinter. When the obvious answer is, your strength lies in your blocking ability or your upper body strength, and you're trying to outrun people. We're not maximizing. I think our core has now shifted to the defense. It's time to make the switch to focus on that. Yes, we're not going to have the big name, sexy receivers and the superstar running back who does the goofy thing to get the affiliates riled up when he gets the first down. We got to get back to the culture where we stop celebrating first downs, man.
Right.
We expect to get a first down. Did you ever see Emmitt Smith celebrating a first down?
Very seldom.
Was a given.
Very seldom. If he did, it was on a game-winning drive.
When you hand the ball to 22, y'all get ready to move them sticks.
Yep.
We getting this first down.
Yep.
And it ain't gonna be a damn thing else said about it. We gonna line back up and go get another one. Ain't shit to celebrate.
Right.
9
straight runs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Hello.
That's an identity.
Okay to show
that's an identity question. 9 straight runs in the Super Bowl.
That's the kind of culture that they had. And
I love this. I love this culture thing, man. You brought up a great point to put a bow on last week's happening before we jump into this Giants matchup. Again, I think if Cooper can do what he did, don't get out of his own way, make the plays for the most part that are there when he can make them. Don't give the game away. And again, I think it's going to be a defensive thing that this defense has to carry them.
Right.
I think really the rest of the season to put emphasis on your point. Hey, Manny, what's going on?
What's up?
David, that's our rider right there. Hey, Manny. Then I think if they do that, as we segue into this matchup on Monday, I think this game, albeit on the road, it's a division game. It's an important game. It's more important than the last one because of two things. It's the next game and it's a division game.
Right.
The division games are always more important. It is the Giants. It is the hated football Giants. A rejuvenated New York Giants team that has gotten better in the draft.
Yep.
Had a really good offseason. Saquon Barkley looks dangerous again, but he's always been that. He's just never been healthy.
Right.
Danny Dimes looks a little bit more comfortable.
Well, I think the Giants had the kind of to go back to what we're saying. They figured out, okay, we know for sure we're not an offensive team.
Right.
Yeah, we got a stud running back. Our quarterback is poo-poo. To be honest, let's spend our resources on D, man. We got some pieces on defense, and they very silently, build some nice pieces on the defense side of the ball. They won the surprise team so far, and I think that they have an outside chance in the division. I still think Philly is the strongest team in the division, but they have an outside chance because you never know. The NFL is a weird business, man.
Yeah, the season. Now these seasons take so many ebbs and flows.
Right.
It amazes me the knee jerk on both sides after week one when your team wins and everybody's just great, and we're going to Super Bowl starting with Cowboy affiliates, probably the worst at it, and then everybody just ready to jump off the bridge when they lose.
Yeah,
I love that. There we go. Man.
They were able to contain Derrick Henry, which to me is a testament to the strength of their front seven.
Yeah.
That's the baddest running back in the league, and in spite of him not having a quarterback, they were able to contain him and manage that game and come out with a win. It don't matter how you win, they are capable of doing just that. So this is going to be a different set of circumstances than last week.
P. Rose brings up another great point, saying the Cowboys need to force Daniel Jones to beat them. I agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah, Daniel Jones looking mad pedestrian. Don't look at his completion percentage and his pass rating because it's misleading. He's been average. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that, P. Rose. It's another great point. I'll extend that point by saying, and to Rich's, I think the Giants have identified what they want to be. And which is, they've allocated a lot of resource to the defensive side of the ball. Saquon's back. They did draft a couple of guys in Will Hernandez and a couple other guys for that offensive line. But guess what, Rich? It's amazing how history tends to repeat itself. The Giants look like they want to be a ball controlling offense with a strong defense. That kind of looks like the formula they had when they were going to Super Bowls in their history, doesn't it? I mean, outside of Eli, did they really have that guy at quarterback?
What's another example? Was Eli Manning really the leader? Of the
even with Eli, their defense was their.
Was he really the leader of the Giants? Like,
no.
It was Michael Strahan.
Michael Strahan, exactly right.
Yeah.
So I
see what happened when he retired.
Of identifying who they want to be. Get a stud running back now. The key to that deal, because I don't think to P. Rose's point, I don't think they're going anywhere. Even yours too, Rich. I don't think they're going anywhere leaning on Daniel Jones to take them.
Oh, they know that.
But strong defense to give Daniel Jones and company opportunity to do that. Turn around and hand the football off to your stud running back. If he can remain healthy, that formula can prove to be dangerous for the Giants. It remains to see if that's going to play itself out, given his injury history, unfortunately. But as it pertains to this matchup with the Cowboys, I agree with Pete Jones' assessment. I think
no question.
They've got to get Haps. Like you always do, they've got to get Haps. They got to get Haps on Saquon Barkley early and often. They cannot let him get off because that makes a guy like Daniel Jones more effective. I think if you put it in his hands and make him sling it, if he throws the ball 35, 40 times, I think Dallas gets his game. If he has a 22, 21 to 24, 25 attempt game and Saquon gives him $30, $40, Dallas is leaving Jersey with an L. I think it's that plain. I think it's that simple. So I like that.
That concerns me because they did decent last week, and I think the numbers don't really tell the story because Cincinnati was playing from behind for basically the whole game. Run defense is still a big question mark for us.
It is.
It's still giving up that big run on third down. Or second and long, and you take a second and long, and instead of it being third and long, it's now third and short.
Third and fourth, They had about
that's where we struggle from a defensive perspective. The coverage has been actually great. They cut the penalties pretty significantly, but man, when we need to make that one tackle to end the drive or to put them in a third and long situation, it's like we put grease our arms and just try to go make a tackle after we just hugged a tub of butter or something, slip right off the offensive player. Right. So I think they have to prove to me that they're able to, be more consistent in run support, because that's an area that this defense still lacks.
I think I don't think they're as alarming as they were when we were talking about it early and often last season.
Right.
Because they are making some plays in the run game, even in the early downs, behind the line of scrimmage, which is encouraging. I don't think they made one last year. Right. Barr was making plays in space. We haven't mentioned him yet, but I'm going to give it to him now. Vander Elsewhere actually had a play or two. A Rich Walker staple, ladies and gentlemen.
Is he even going to be in New York, or did he take a flight to Dallas? He might have went the wrong way on that
too. Very possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, so you're seeing flashes. I think with Barr, I don't think he's going to be the quite the stud he was in Minnesota. But I saw the comment earlier about his IQ, and
his IQ and his leadership. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot to that. But I think as he gets more comfortable with this group and in the Quinn system, I think you're going to see more, and certainly, hopefully, more of what we saw against Tampa. Now, I'm going to say all that in terms of what we see the first 2 weeks from this pass rush. It's tempered enthusiasm. We know Parsons is a stud, but they've gone in the first 2 weeks. Let's keep it a band. They've gone the first 2 weeks against some really subpar offensive lines. Keep that in perspective. They're going to see better fronts. It'll be interesting to see how Dallas does against those fronts as we go down the stretch. So let's temper the enthusiasm just a bit as they go through. That said, defense still has to carry the mail for this team in this early going until somehow the B, Kellen Moore, and whatever they're running out there, quarterback, be it Cooper Rush, be it Dak when he comes back. But somehow or another, you look at a game like this, as important as this is from the divisional standing standpoint, this is a game that Dallas can get. Somehow, some way, just like last week, you got to get this game. Because again, if Cooper Rush can give you a quality start, and all of a sudden you're 2-1 with a game in the division. If he can still, like one or two of those, I mean, if he ends up and they end up going, say, 500 while Dak is sitting down, having won a division game or two, then you're right there where you need to be going into the end of the first half of the season. So, but in order to do that, you got to get this game Monday night. You got to get this game. It's a game that they can be had. You certainly don't go into it fearing the Giants. Like, oh damn! I mean, I was more fearful. Now that said, I know it's a Sunday to Sunday thing. They could go in there, lay an egg, and the Giants can kick their ass. I'm not saying they can't do that. What I'm saying is, just looking at the matchup, you don't go into this game from our perspective thinking that, wow, boy, this is going to be a tough one to get. Dallas can get this game. Things are going to have to fall right. Cooper Rush is going to have to, not give the game away, and they're going to have to make plays, and they're there to be made. And they can't let Saquon get off. And to Rich's point earlier, if they get him behind the chains on second and third down, they got to keep him behind the chains.
Right.
And I think, to Pete Rose's point, get him in third and long, but they got to depend on Daniel Jones to make a play downfield, because that will lend itself to Dallas' strength, that pass rush and their coverage. And I think Daniel Jones gives you one or two if you're forcing him to throw it on passing down. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. It's grudge, it's division, it's all those things. I think it's going to be an ugly game because I think you got two ugly teams.
Very ugly. Yeah.
I think there's going to be there's not going to be really pretty football. Let's get ready for that. But I don't give a damn about pretty. I give a damn about wins. I give a damn about losses. And somehow Dallas has got to find a way to win what's going to be an ugly primetime division road game in New Jersey.
I like Pete Rose's point. Let's go back to this. And Travion had a good game in coverage on Chase last week. 2 catches, 14 yards allowed, 40% completion allowed. My question is, can he have consistent great weeks? We had that okay week and one and a great week too.
Yeah,
that's a very great point.
Excellent.
And I think that was we talked about that. I think week one, it's just his temperament is to try to create turnovers, which I like, but at the same time, there's a balance that you have to strike there as a defender. Sometimes you just have to just shadow the guy and just cover him and just, make sure that they don't throw the ball, that way, or, just defend the pass and be done with it. But he's a spectator, and sometimes it's feast or famine. Sometimes he comes up with a big play, and sometimes he gets burned. So I haven't seen that much of him. I did see that Mike Evans beat him for that touchdown against the Bucs. He kind of looked, stared into the backfield, and did it against Brady. He got toasted. But I think it's a young guy thing too. As he learns a bit more, he'll get better at it and he'll be more consistent. But what also helps a guy like him is the pass rush. If we can be more consistent and have more Micah games and someone else helping Micah, that does wonders for your secondary.
Absolutely.
When that quarterback doesn't have time, because the receivers are going to come open sooner or later. I don't give a damn who you are. You can put Deion Sanders, Darrell Rivas, and freaking Rod Woodson as your slot corner. It doesn't matter. Those receivers are going to come open sooner or later.
Yeah,
if he has enough time.
Yeah.
So the less time the quarterback has, the more success your defensive backs are going to have. That's just by default.
That's two terrific points, man. The thing I like to see to P. Rose's point in question with Trayvon about the consistency, and Rich, you brought it up, which is an excellent point as well, is, right now, because of his youth, what I'd like to see is him commit to technique,
right,
and let his athleticism, because if he commits to the technique, and that way you're going to get more consistent coverage. And because of his athleticism, plays are going to, he'll make plays that come to him because he's going to be in a position to make them, as opposed to leaning on that and going for that all or nothing, as opposed to abandoning technique some and using his athleticism to do that. So I think if he matures to the point as a player to commit to the technique where he's more in position to do that, and then that athleticism will come through where he'll make plays where maybe some other guys wouldn't, and he'll still get those interception numbers and still the batted balls, because I think the batted balls are equally as big. I think he'll get his hands on more balls and all those things.
If I were Trevon Diggs, I would pick up the phone and I would call this gentleman named Richard Sherman, and I would either fly to him or fly him out to me and say, look, bro, I need some help, man. Teach me this Dan Quinn system. Teach me how this works. Because where Trayvon Diggs, because Dan Quinn runs a very complicated defense. And he expects his corners to be sometimes you're on the island, sometimes you're in a zone scheme, sometimes you're something in between, sometimes it's disguise. He likes to use a lot of cover 2 robber, for example. And he likes to, show one look and come off of it after the snap.
To confuse
them. So I do see a little bit of struggling where Trayvon has to switch between zone and man. And I think that Richard Sherman is the best person on earth who can help him with that, because he did it.
I totally agree.
Richard Sherman wasn't a great cover corner. He was not a great man cover corner. He don't need help in that area. Trayvon Diggs is a damn good man cover corner. Yeah. It's the zone stuff. It's the other things. It's the other little caveats that Quinn wants you to do, where I think he needs some work in those areas.
Yeah,
so, pick up that phone immediately and call Richard Sherman. He's retired. He's done. I'm sure he would love to take your call. I'm sure, he's still cool with Coach Quinn. Everybody that's ever played for Coach Quinn love Coach Quinn.
Yeah.
He would do it for him. He would come down there or vice versa. And, he'll help you out, man. But, you need to pick up the phone and call Sherman, man. Which, by the way, if y'all haven't seen, him commentate, Rich Sherman is a brilliant commentator.
Yes.
He's almost like another Romo, man. I love listening to him talk.
Super intelligent guy.
Yeah, super intelligent.
You hear, he's a very articulate guy anyway.
Yeah.
But if you want to learn how to look at like coverages or just understanding of the game, period, man, like Rich said, Richard Sherman is a great listen. I mean, he's got a sense of humor and all that deal, but he's
so
got
damn smart.
Yeah,
Ooh, man, you talking about
extremely intelligent guy. Football intelligent, just intelligent. Period.
I remember a press conference that I was covering the Texans, and if I recall, he got that pick six and he won against the Texans here with Matt Shaw. And like everybody else asked you typical bullshit questions, how you feeling, blah blah blah. We don't care about none of that. You know what I'm saying? If you ever played sports at any level, you know what the emotions are. I don't need to ask those questions. I asked Richard, I looked at him, I said, Rich, on that pick six, what was it on film that made you jump the flat? Man, this dude lit up. You go look it up on YouTube. He lit up. He was like, thank you for that question. Let me explain to you.
I love it.
I looked at this film and I seen over the past 18 games on this down, this distance, they came out in this formation. I knew he was throwing to the flat. I didn't even look at the receiver. He just jumped the flat, picked his pick six, took it home.
I remember that play.
That's the kind of stuff that he can teach a guy like Trayvon Diggs. Is how to be that meticulous with your film study.
Right.
That when they come out, you know that jab coming, you hit him with that counter, you knock him out.
Yeah. Nuance, man. Like we talked about.
Teach you, man.
Nuance with like Parsons. Same thing. When you study, when you flow through, when your athleticism flows through that nuance, that understanding, that knowledge, that technique, and let your athleticism flow through that, given how talented you are naturally from a physical standpoint, you're a problem. You're a problem, man. And P. Rose just brought up the point with comparing the two great guys that he could learn from and watch the film. It was a prime Champ Bailey and Charles Woodson. Damn right. Those
right.
Yeah. Any cornerback that can watch footage of those two in their prime. Yeah, right. No doubt. But I think the Sherman reference is brilliant just because he certainly understands that scheme top to bottom.
Yes.
And can communicate it. And this is a guy who's recently removed from the game, right? Yeah. This is a guy, I mean, that Rich, as you well know, these guys, when they're in the throes of doing what they do, the being able to relate to the guy before, if he's not, that guy's going to relate more to Richard Sherman than he would to Deion Sanders.
Right.
Like, because Deion Sanders, let's just face it, Deion Sanders is an old fart.
He's an old head to them.
Yeah, I mean, he knows he's great, he's a legend, all that, but Richard Sherman literally just got done playing 15 minutes ago.
Right.
For the guy that he's playing for. So there's a relatability there. So I think he would be well served to do that very thing. That's good stuff. So,
and he knows I'm sure Richard Sherman's probably got a lab of film on it. There's a lot of quarterbacks are still playing right now. I bet he probably move a book on the bookshelf. The wall spins around like Bruce Wayne and shit. There's probably a lab back there full of shit. Let me tell you about this quarterback. Let me tell you about that one. What P. Rose says, quarterbacks have tendencies. Offensive coordinators got tendencies. You know what type of food they serve when you walk in the restaurant. It's Jamaican, it's Mexican, it's Chinese, it's Italian. We know that they're not going to have barbecue chicken when you walk into Papacitos or an Italian restaurant. You know they're not going to have pasta at the turkey leg hut. So
there you go.
The offensive coordinators and quarterbacks have tendencies that you know how they think. Yeah. And when you learn how they think, you're able to execute against them. You're able to use their own tendencies against them. That's the kind of stuff Rich Sherman teach a guy like Trayvon. Man, when he does learn that, he's gonna be dangerous, man. That's what I'm saying.
Circle back to something that Brett Maher.
To kind of go back to the cusp of what we've been talking about. This is where we need to be building this organization from. You build it around guys like Micah, Trayvon Diggs, man.
Yeah.
No disrespect, that, but you already shown us that you ain't, this is not you. It ain't for everybody. Being a superstar is so rare. Being that guy is so rare. There's a lot of great players who just were never that guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you can still succeed in spite of that. Think about the all-time teams. Terry Bradshaw. And I had guys, Steeler fans, come at me all different type of ways. No, Terry Bradshaw is a folktale. He's a folklore guy. If they did not have that steel curtain defense and those running backs, we would not be talking about no damn Terry Bradshaw.
Never.
The man has 2 more interceptions than touchdowns for his career. Don't play with me. Terry Bradshaw rode the coattail of Mean Joe Green and them boys into the Hall of Fame.
Yes, absolutely.
So there's nothing wrong with that. It just wasn't in him. You're not Joe Montana. You're not Dan Marino. You're not
John Elway.
John Elway.
Yeah.
Look how rare that class is. Even within the Hall of Fame, it's some quarterbacks that are not, they're good, but they're not that guy. Yeah. Joe Namath is not Tom Brady.
No.
You can't put them in the same sentence. He's in there. He's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, they won a Super Bowl.
Joe Namath was a benefactor of playing.
But you ain't Brady. You ain't Elway. You ain't Peyton Manning. You ain't Warren Moon. You're not one of them guys, man.
Right.
You know, let's say you can still succeed in spite of all of that, man.
And knowing that know where
you fit within it.
Okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
Not just for Dak, but for the organization. That's why I love that point about this and what we've been on as far as this identity thing. I think that's something that we'll continually revisit throughout the season right here on Straight No Chasing, because that's a really relevant thing given with what they've got from a personnel standpoint. So, Rich, what we get
Romo never was that guy, by the way, for the Romo Mannings. He never was that guy. Y'all trying to make him that guy, but he never was. Hell, to be blunt, Troy Aikman wasn't that guy.
Yeah, I think Troy.
Our leader was 22.
Yeah.
You take 20. We saw what happened when 22 set after 2 games.
Yeah.
Don't play.
No doubt.
Don't play.
No doubt. Yeah.
It's that time.
It is the Lucky Whitehead time. I love it. Because it getting to that time of the show.
The mystical, magical, Lucky Whitehead Award.
So that's a good one. So who gets the Lucky Whitehead Award from you, Rich?
For me, it's a guy that, you know what I'm saying, I gotta give him credit. He had a very good game. You know, he made some very good catches. He took advantage of the opportunity that was presented to him. Five targets, 5 catches. Noah Brown.
I like it.
5 catches, 1 touchdown, 92 yards, 5 targets. Yeah, he did his job. He was actually the primary receiver most of the game because he was nowhere to be found.
But you know what, man? Noah Brown is one of those guys. I mean, man, he's been here 5 or 6 years. I don't think people realize that. Like, he's been here. He's a Cowboys draftee. He was like 7th round or some deal.
Right.
And I mean, he's been here this whole time. So this guy has applied his craft a lot of years here.
He's a work ethic guy. He's a lunch pail guy.
He really is.
Not hella talented, but he'll come in and get the job. He'll come in and work.
Man, my Lucky Whitehead, I'm gonna give to you because I'm gonna go back to Brent's point earlier. I want to let Brent know that I saw it. I'm gonna have to go with Maher. I didn't think Maher was gonna make that kick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Maher.
That's refreshing not to have to worry about that.
You know, I mean, given how squirrely that play was to set up the field goal, I was like, what the hell are they doing? Why are we calling that play? Are we trying to make it harder for Maher?
Right.
And to his credit, he nailed it. So
remember that feeling that we had
to Maher.
Remember that feeling we had in our stomachs every game when it came down to a crucial kick and we had Greg the leg.
Oh yeah.
You just knew, like, it's like, oh God, we have to rely on this guy. Like, oh. So, you know, to his credit, you know, he's so far.
Yeah.
He's done what's asked of him.
So prediction time, man.
Let's see what P. Rose said. Interceptions and turnovers are a numerical stat, but they can only be quantified to a certain extent. Great IQ, great technique.
Yes.
Discipline with great study habits lead to superb execution. Yes. There we go. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yep. There's nothing you need to really extend on that. That's it in a nutshell. Very well stated.
Yeah.
P. Rose, exceptionally well stated. That is on the screws right there.
Yep.
What are we doing for prediction time, bro?
I think I'm gonna go to the bag for this one. I know I haven't had the bag lately.
Breaking out the bag here on Straight. Right. Hello.
I'm breaking out the bag for this one.
Okay.
This is G14 classified. You know what I'm saying? I had to go all the way down to Los Cabos, Mexico to get this one.
Nice. Very nice.
See what's in the bag. Let me pull this out the bag.
Straight No Chase. Straight No Chase staple, y'all.
I say basically, you know, to be honest, the custom of it is the combination of Saquon Barkley, I think that they're better coached and better prepared team than the Cowboys are, generally speaking, which really speaks to the ineptitude of Mike McCarthy, the soon-to-be former Dallas Cowboys ex-coach.
Talk about it, preach, Rich, preach.
As long as they don't turn the ball over, I don't see any reason why Cowboys don't walk out there with hell. So I'm going Giants 24-10.
Oh, wow. I liked it, man. So I like the bag presentation, bro. I like that. We have to stick with that. I love that. I just like that. I like that. We pulled out the bag with the L.
Let it go to the bag, man.
Oh, man, my man. Okay, Rich has stepped this game up. I'm going to have to come up with a bit. That's I like that. 24-10, I'm not mad at that prediction. It's going to be tough because I'm certainly not convinced of anything. I'm not souped. I mean, I'm glad Dallas won. I certainly didn't think Dallas was going to win last week. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm going to hold to what we talked about earlier with the problematic run defense. They're certainly going to see a much higher quality back in Saquon Barkley, a guy that the Giants are committed to giving the ball to. That's problematic when you got a defense that hadn't really sold you on being able to contain the run. And he's a guy that is a real problem when you are sporadic containing the run. That said, road game, they're going to be up for it. You know that. I got Dallas taking the L in this one as well. I will go with a score prediction, much like yours, maybe a little closer. I'll go 21-13 Giants.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that they fall behind and we get to a point where we have to rely on Cooper Rush. That's where the problem is going to be.
Yep. So again, there it is, y'all. I mean, here it is. Cliff, hit us with the affiliate starter pack one more time, please. Just
the affiliate's been running wild, man.
There we go. This is what Straight No Chaser is not.
We may have to change the Elliott jersey to a Cooper Rush jersey if they win another game while he's the backup.
Right.
Because Jerry Jones himself has been feeding the affiliates, talking about he would love a quarterback controversy. Jerry, you know damn well. And Cooper Rush is not anywhere near being a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, you said
it without saying it because the man wasn't even on the active roster game one. You didn't guarantee his contract, his $800,000 contract for the year. So what does that say about you?
By the way, which even for a backup is a welfare check.
Yeah. So what does that say about your level of confidence in him? That you knew damn well no other team was in the league was going to sign him. You cut his ass at the training camp. You brought him back as a spare tire. You put him on the practice squad, and you only promoted him to the active roster when Dak got hurt because you needed another body.
Before we sign off, what do you want to see positively progress for Dallas for this game? I want to see Tyler Smith continue to work his way into that role on the offensive side. And on the defensive side, I want to see that run defense somehow find itself. And this week would be a great week to do it. Don't know if it's going to happen. Not really confident it's going to happen, but that's what I'd like to see.
Positively speaking, I like to see, I don't want to say conservative, I want to see smart play calling from the B.
Oh, great.
To his credit, he didn't do a lot of crazy shit last week. I think having Dak is a positive from that perspective because he knows for sure he can't do some of the weird razzly-dazzly shit that he likes to do with Dak that he know he can't pull that off with Coop. Just call a football game, man. Quit playing around. All the extra shit that you do that worked in practice is not going to work in an NFL game, man. These defensive coordinators are too smart. The defensive players are too smart. Just call the game like it is, man. Just you learn the opportunities that are there for the defense and execute down distance formation situation. That formula never fails.
Just be Keller. Don't be the B.
Right.
Don't be the B till that comes back. Right. Just be Keller.
If it's 3rd and 1, damn it, you run a dive or something. You don't run a damn end around or jet sweep or none of this other bullshit.
Lucky Whitehead jet sweep, which I hate.
Right. Go into I formation, run a dive, and get up and get the first down and keep moving. Don't be cute. Be a winner.
As you can see, man, Straight No Chaser is not convinced. we did not buy into the euphoria of the Cowboys win from last week. We're not convinced. We still think this team is lacking. Still think this team needs a lot. And,
Right.
We are not convinced to the point where we're predicting Cowboy wins because they are the Dallas Cowboys.
You're not gonna see it here. I mean, you're welcome to
Not
go
gonna happen.
to, blogging with the boys or whatever. Pick your own affiliate, goofy Cowboys program. You're not gonna find the bullshit here.
No,
You'll
No.
never see it here. Sorry.
Get it real.
So if you're an affiliate, you're welcome to unshare it, block us, or whatever. Because
No,
we don't roll like that, man.
No, please tell your other affiliates. You know what? They hating on the Cowboys and bring y'all asses here too.
Oh, yeah.
Because y'all need to hear it.
Yeah.
No, tell everybody. I want your other affiliates to tell your other affiliates that we don't like the Cowboys. Because y'all need to hear this. Y'all need this truth. Y'all need this wisdom. Y'all need this
It's not that we don't like the Cowboys. We don't like you.
Exactly. We don't like you.
We don't like you. We don't
Yeah.
like what you've
Voice
done
of
to
your pleasure.
our franchise. Us real
Exactly.
Cowboys fans can't stand Cowboys affiliates.
Affiliates.
You are a venereal disease to our organization. You like jock itch. Y'all like to clap for
Yeah.
football, man.
Absolutely.
That's what Cowboys affiliates are. You like Jerry Jones went out and slept with the wrong person, and the affiliates were born. That's where you guys came from.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
So,
You like
here's
fleas.
a prediction for next
You
week.
like a big nasty pussy bump that just won't go away on the ass of the Cowboys nation. That's what Cowboys affiliates are.
I'm going to tease a little something for next week's show. First of all, let me say thank you to everybody that's participating in the chat. Y'all were fantastic today. Certainly a lot of our regulars, Minnie, P. Rose, Brett Jackson. Always great to see y'all. Always chiming in with some great input. And for everybody that's new, Dexter Crockett and whomever else, appreciate y'all piping in, man. Tell everybody, get with the real here on Straight No Chaser. We love y'all chiming in, but I am going to tease this. You will hear, I've been told, got an email, you will hear some input as to the start of this season from the fake Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman has been dying to get on the show and input, so be looking for that as next week here on Straight No Chaser.
Yes.
And to our man, our wedding attendee, our cohort, Cliff Franks, man, appreciate you the timeliness of the video drops. Absolutely on point. My man is doing his thing even while he's in between.
He's having a Jerry Jones moment.
He's right here in Dallas doing his damn thing. So in true end of show, Straight No Chaser.
One other thing, real quick before we go. I do hope to have her on at some point during the season.
Yes.
For those of y'all that do know, I'm a head coach for the NFL Alumni Association.
Yes, he is.
So I've lost over 70 pounds on the program.
That's what I'm talking
And
about, man.
50 more to my goal, so it's gonna be about $125 when all is said and done. But we have a former Dallas Cowboys cheerleader who's on the program that we're coaching. She's doing phenomenal so far. I believe she's in like the 30-pound range or so of weight loss. So we hope to have her on at some point to talk about the program, because she's going to be, one of our women's coaches, for the program. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
First of all,
Looking forward to it.
congratulations, Rich. Damn proud of you, man. Because I was going to tell you, bro, you're looking like bro, you lucky you get your Kellen Winslow Sr. on over there, bro. Tight end weight, man. I'm loving it, man.
Yes, sir.
Man, that's awesome. You big time inspiration, man. 70 pounds is not easy. There's discipline, there's commitment, and I know from when she started, that's awesome.
Well, you remember in Phoenix, y'all
behind
damn near had to carry me out of the convention center because I could barely walk.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. As Rich moves towards his wide out weight, I'm with it, and looking forward to having a future Dallas Cowboys cheerleader right here on Straight No Chaser.
Yes, sir.
Man, we got to have a season full of great content, man. Appreciate y'all support. Appreciate the love. Our man Cliff Franks will be back in his full capacity next week, perhaps with a story or two of the happenings this week.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, appreciate y'all, man. Love y'all on Straight No Chaser. Remember, room temperature, no cut, no ice. We out. And in spite of all of our misgivings, go Cowboys. See you.
Shout out to Hoop Shark, man. I'm gonna add you to the crew, man. This crew called Hoop Shark. They've been getting at it, man. They the ones that's gonna grill you, man, because they majority all Houston people. So that's
Shout out to Hoop Shark.
Man, I'm here with my man with hoop jargon, the best in the game, man. And you know I only live selected few in my circle. And this is the real dude right here. We gonna get down with the get down.